RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. Hello, all you regulars. Great to see the regulars here. Nice to see Meg in the lounge with us here, along, of course, with Mr. G Insights. We don't get about your first name. But almost kind of like a security blanket. I know I'll do a half decent job when I know Meg's here. So I missed you yesterday. I think you were here. I don't know. Maybe you weren't. Anyway, let's get on with the show here. It is 5 minutes past the top of the hour. She's trying so darn hard to get this show off the ground by 9 o'clock. And it's like pulling teeth. Anyway, here we are. We made it. Hello, Hafed. Oh, great to see you. There's another positive karmic wave. When I see Noray, I see Constantine, I see Hafed, I see Meg, I see Glass Insights. I got all the regulars here. Oh, here's somebody. Who we got here? We got hello Mentugo. I don't know whether I've seen you before, but welcome to the frivolity. If anything, really interesting market state that we're in right now. We're going to try and whittle these public broadcasts. It was a huge effort to get down to a half an hour. Now the next phase is how do we get down to 15 minutes? So it is 5 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's try and have this thing wound up by 20 minutes past the top of the hour, and then we'll head on over to the Daily Brief after party, where the real excitement begins. And actually, we have on Tuesdays on the after party. This is a little bit of a shill for the after party. I don't know whether we include it in our stopwatch time watch of the free show, but Tuesdays after party is Pannenkoek Day, and unfortunately it seems that the Dutch football team likes to schedule games right in Pannenkoek's sweet spot. I guess I don't know what you would say, but Sjoerd's going to be pressed here today because of course I think it's a requirement over there in Europe. Life stops when your country's football team is playing. So anyway, Stuart, you ready to rock these people's world in the after party here today?
Yes, we are.
All right, awesome. And actually, FYI, Stuart totally kicked ass today. I think he got like something like a 600% return on a trade that he did. Actually, while I was working with him this morning, he did the right thing, sold enough to get his original capital back in his hands. Now he's got basically a risk-free trade rocking on a chunk of money. So, I mean, it's not chump change that he's working with. And really, that's exactly what I want to try and teach all of you to do. I'm just I'm so pleased. And actually, what's super cool, because I even talked about this with Mr. Pannenkoek himself in our meeting this morning. I'm so pleased that we've got this email reporting system up and running, and it's still working on which reports. And keep in mind, this is beta right now. The ultimate goal of this is to get this bulletproof and just absolutely solid for the big November Black Friday sales window event kind of idea. So if you are a member now, just be patient with us. I know there were a few people that I want this report. Give me it now. We are slowly putting all the pieces together for you to get it. If anything was good, the Brian just used this as sort of like a template to work with. But you notice one of the models that I put together was Sjoerd's buys. I tentatively put together a list of criteria. It doesn't have all of Sjoerd's criteria. But anyway, super cool going through the list with Sjoerd here this morning. And of course, I showed you in recent broadcasts some of the killer names in crypto space that were spitting up buys. And when we were in our meeting this morning, it was like, look at this one, look at this one, look at this one. I mean, what I find fascinating about this space, and I don't know whether I want to talk about this now. I think let's stick to the itinerary, and then when we get to this point in the conversation, we'll circle back around. I'm seeing lots and lots of anecdotal tells that this altcoin market is bottoming, and if you want to make some money from trading, I mean, man, now is when you really got to pay attention. Which is ironic because I'll show you later on the people that don't really know what they're doing in this game, they're giving up on altcoins and that space, and that makes absolutely perfect sense because that's the way this game works. Public sells at the bottom, public buys at the top, and they consistently lose money. But anyway, let's get on with the regular report. As I said, super cool to see this come up, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about these signals in the after party. Quick little shill there, just that the system is kicking butt. So breadth, interesting. U.S. stock market, not really overly happy right now. I might argue that there are some pretty big sort of macro wheels turning. And I think primarily the message that I'm hearing when I sort of sit and listen to all the various different talking heads and what opinions are pushing what, the message that I'm hearing is that there's trouble out of Asia, which I suppose shouldn't surprise us. I mean, when is that not the case? But the Japanese in particular are just continuing to devalue their currency, and it's gotten to the point where it's getting a little dangerous for them locally. I mean, you can see this Japanese yen is just in free fall. It's interesting how we're coming up to a trend line here. So we'll probably find a bit of reprieve. But what I'm hearing is that the Japanese are actually considering selling U.S. Treasury bonds, and they have a ton of them because they basically have a trade surplus with the United States, and that surplus, what do you do with the money? Go and buy U.S. Treasuries because there isn't anything else in the world that you can bank on. Oh yeah, how's trusting Winnie the Pooh going these days? Oh, there's a good idea. How's trusting Vladdy going these days? Oh boy, there's an even better idea. So hopefully you can now appreciate. And if you're a longtime watcher of the channel, if you're a student of the Beamish and stuff, I mean, that we have no business whatsoever trusting any communist totalitarian dictatorship. That's just you're just asking for trouble going down those roads. Anyway, point of the matter here is Japanese. The scuttlebutt is that the Japanese, to try and prop up the Japanese yen itself, are actually in the market aggressively selling U.S. Treasury bonds, which to a certain degree kind of explains the slide that we've had of late. I mean, this isn't really the best image, but you can see the long bond has been kind of grinding its way lower. There's the yes, this is the 10-year bond, right? Prices have been grinding lower here over the past little while, especially like, the past month or so. And of course, you've been hearing Brian barking about our inflation deflation gauge and how, if you're selling US Treasuries, that means interest rates are going up. And unfortunately, there is your 10-year bond. You can see the yields have been jumping up here recently. I actually don't think that this is too problematic because, as you can see, we are contained within a downtrend here on this. And I do find this fascinating that I think that the market is kind of like humming and hawing. We've had this huge jump up in our inflation deflation problem. And yet, interesting, and I think to a certain degree, that's sort of why you see the breadth indicator kind of pausing here. We're all kind of like, hey, is this a bull? Is this a bear? Should we start worrying about these bonds selling off? I mean, you can see on the breadth indicator, the short-term bonds are getting punched in the nose. On the medium term, actually, the bond market actually looks a little bit too bullish, to be honest with you. It probably needs to calm down a bit. And if we actually get a situation, we should probably scroll back over time now. Okay, so this has just happened in the short term. But if we do get a situation where the bond market actually starts flipping back aggressively bullish, I suppose right here with this recent short-term weakness, that's knocked the medium-term bonds down a bit. If anything, if this, I think probably what's going to happen with this medium-term indicator slightly positive, and we looked at the price chart. Why? And keep in mind, these are the yields. So this is the exact opposite of your bond price, right? Your bond price, they look like this. I think what's happening here, and maybe to show you the prices, it's a little easier, is medium term, it makes sense that these bonds were actually moving up smartly. This is over the past, this is the course of over the past like 2 or 3 months, eh? We've actually had a pretty nice rally in the bond market. That short-term weakness you can see just in the very short term, prices have come off a chunk here. I wouldn't really be too concerned about it until we actually start breaking these bullish structures down here. These W's are pretty damn powerful. And then, the exact opposite, these are the yields. So the yields put in big M's or tops. And all I think we did was we just rallied right back up to the top end of the range. And you've heard me talk recently, like, why is this happening? And I've said it before, and I think on balance, and I apologize, I'm taking forever to get through this, but I think this is pretty important. I've been, I try to trade crude oil on a daily basis. Good luck. But anyway, we actually had pretty big technical objectives just hit here. And I've been talking to you guys recently about how, gee whiz, this silly energy market's working its way right back up to the top end of the range. I think that is to a certain degree why that inflation sort of thing, if, for lack of a better word, those inflationary pressures we're back on. But interesting, look at what's happening here now. We finally filled in this gap to the upside. It's taken quite a while. And of course, wicks and tails like to be eaten. So candle body highs for trade location. Not really a big surprise that we should actually see some bears actually step up and come back in on the short side here. And also too, we had this bull ABCD, a just tight little consolidation pattern. And you can see, doink, we just hit that big objective. Could we play around here a little bit over the next week or two to hit this ABCD objective, and maybe this rolls over slowly here? Well, it wouldn't be unrealistic, that's for certain. And actually, interesting enough, this morning, I got off a really cute little short trade, and I only actually got out of the trade because I needed to go into another meeting here this morning. I really don't like doing these trade, having meetings and doing these videos and stuff with open trades. It's way too distracting. But as you can see, hunting shorts here, I bought the free car back here. But hunting shorts this morning, I think, was actually a pretty good idea off that massive daily horizontal support and resistance level. So I'm thinking that this market I think that the oil rise was a huge driver in this whole inflation problem. But I did find it fascinating that, as crude oil prices have come into this pretty important technical level, and I absolutely think that all the Fed banksters, political leaders, market pundits, they're all watching this chart too. They all know the same damn thing. And I get the impression, and especially if we start looking at the momentum indicators, Willie getting very stupidly overbought. We actually even have a potential divergence developing in a MACD histogram. And notice the buying pressure is actually not that strong. We're not really breaking out on new strong volume pouring in. OBV is still pointing up, so it hasn't broken yet, but it'll be interesting. If we actually doji out here or even close slightly negative, you might find that OBV indicator actually starts rolling over if this paints red. So this is not a market you really want to buy. I mean, this is why I built the Willie indicator. You're an idiot if you come in and buy a market through this kind of bull run with Willie flashing stupid. And you can see, was that a good idea? Buy when Willie's stupid? No, it wasn't. It was a horrible idea. So here we are. We're back overbought again. Do you really want to step in on the long side and take a shot here? I don't think so. And as I said, there are actually some indications here that, this thing's kind of running out of steam. That's the daily chart. If we look at something like the 4-hour chart, it's ridiculously overbought. And not a big surprise. We're going to see like a shooting star here. Dragonfly, actually, no, beg your pardon. Gravestone Doji. That's my favorite candle these days. I love these Gravestone Dojis. But I might argue that if oil here is actually exhausting itself, and we're near the end of whatever this bull run was. And damn, that was quick, eh? We might actually find that the whole damn stock market just flips over and goes uber bull here. I did find another interesting sort of tell is energy prices are strong here, and look who's starting to come back to life. So this guy's been an absolute dog as energy prices rolled over, and I think a lot of people when they saw those prices at the pump went, oh, stupid electric cars, what a waste of time all that was. I'm just going to stick with my gasoline engine. Now energy prices are all right back up top, and I wouldn't be surprised. And this guy, of course, has gone and finagled his crazy ass billion contract, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, look at the stock performance up 5% on the day. This thing's up and down like a horse drawers. In the after party, I suppose if there is a request, we could take a look at the price chart. But it's just another interesting anecdote of an up energy market. And what a big surprise this guy's going to start chugging up. And it might be another, everybody all starts falling in love with electric vehicles. I did see, and you always have to take this stuff with a grain of salt, but I did see an interesting news article here today about the Chinese and the Americans are trying to push the technology of EVs forward, and China and U.S. both eye breakthrough EV technology. And I think that's the big problem is these damn batteries cost a fortune, and of course they don't really last that long. If they can get their head around that, then maybe there is something else to be done here with these EVs going forward. So anyway, we'll see how that develops. Chris has given me the heads up that I'm running out of time. So my apologies, kind of scatterbrained. I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around just doing a 15-minute report, but obviously way too talky there. So point of the matter here of all this, I think energy prices are sort of peaking out. Did find it interesting, in our inflation deflation gauge. If you were one of these technical analyst kind of guys, this is exactly where you want to step in and actually short this rally. Reload short zones from this range. Market egregiously exhausted right into a downtrend line. And you can even see to a certain degree, especially if we have that energy market top out, you can see that the bonds mysteriously actually are feeling a little bit better here this morning. And we also saw that short term on the breadth indicator, the bonds maybe got a little bit overdone there to the downside. And I think they're going to probably enjoy a little bit of a reprieve here. This is just, it's too oversold. Everything is down. So you're probably going to see those bonds come back. Why? Because I think the commodities are going to calm down here a little bit, and that inflation push is going to calm down a bit. And look who's talking about, hey, maybe we're getting close to the end of these interest rate increases. So I did find it interesting that this news article came out back on deflationary path. I get the impression I don't think that they can cut rates with the way energy prices look right now, right at the top end of the range. If they do roll over, if that inflation deflation gauge does roll over here, and all this was just basically a test of the trend line, and it's like he said, we're back to deflation days, and this thing rolls over and we start heading down, then I think we can actually start having serious conversations about the Fed not needing to be so aggressive. Does that translate into interest rate cuts right away? I don't know. We're still right up in this upper half. If we start to see this breakdown in earnest, confirm more bearish structure, take out these lows, then I think it will mean that the data validates that indeed we can actually start thinking about the Americans cutting rates. Europeans are cutting rates right now, so they're trying desperately to stimulate that economy. The China Ds, of course, they're cutting interest rates. Don't get me started about China. And interesting out of all of this, I think the market itself is a little confused. What are we going to do here? Are we going to M out here, which means that the Econs are showing that maybe the Americans need to start cutting rates, or is it just business as usual, and this thing just goes sideways for a while until the Fed actually does start talking about cutting rates. Can't really make a decision about that. I will say this does look very double toppy, and you might even argue that inflation deflation gauge, it kind of looks the same image if you like really zoomed in on this image here. So we'll see how this plays out. Well, I could say, if you're just a simple trader, for our chart, if this low is taken out, that will be a bearish empire, which means that the bear will have the ball. I think right now, especially with Jerry speaking over there in Europe, and people kind of humming and hawing. After he spoke, I think basically the tone was we still need more data to confirm that indeed we're in a place where we can cut rates. I don't think that he said anything today about cutting rates. So as a result, we've got one of these bull bear battle lines. So we go through these, finish this candle, beep, done. Next candle, if we tick up through this high and you're watching your price charts, this is a really simple indication that the bull is back in running. There's a nice inside bar, bull rammy. Actually, I would even call this a outright harammy too, as well. So that's a candlestick wise, pretty good looking signal. But we have to wait for this 4-hour candle to finish. And of course, like I said there a second ago, if we do go through these lows, then that confirms a big empire top and down we go. And it means that the economic data coming out of the US is weak enough that the Fed can justify actually thinking about cutting rates. So speaking of econs, there's Jerry over there in Europe, and obviously Jerry was privy to that information ahead of time. But the point of the matter here is we have, of course, one of Jerry's favorite reports, the JOLTS, and JOLTS actually showed, if I'm not mistaken, we showed job openings actually dramatically increasing. I mean, not huge, 200,000 jobs, but more job openings than even the market was expecting, i.e., the labor market slackening. There's probably also the quits and stuff like that. We have one a guy in our day trading room, Ed, who absolutely loves to follow this report. He probably could talk a bit more about this, but I did find it interesting that the jobs to be filled are starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Does that mean that the labor market is tightening or loosening? I'm not quite sure. We'll say though that you can definitely see that this is making lower highs and lower lows. So I do think that this is carrying out the Fed's ultimate desire. And I suppose what they would love to see is this thing actually tick negative. But I think it is basically heading in the direction that the Fed would like to see. And I think this is talking a little bit about the economy's calming down. And the Fed is sort of getting in front of this in job-wise inflation problem. And of course, we've had lots and lots of anecdotal talk lately about how the consumer in the US is feeling pinched. And I have a feeling that this data just basically confirms that pinching. Let's see, was there anything else I was supposed to talk about? Bitcoin, we've been, it was interesting to, it's kind of a reiteration. We could talk about it in the after party a little bit more, but long and short of it is I was putting out messages to the effect that we were in a really dangerous position through the weekend there. And if the powers that be let this thing break, oh boy, that could have been a really bearish development. And it was interesting that through the weekend, somebody on Sunday and Monday came in and just stopped this bear slide in its tracks. The reason why I say that is these kind of tweets and stuff that came out. Basically, I'm relying on them. I don't know whether this is actually factual or not, but the scuttlebutt is somebody literally went in there and said, "Thou shalt not go down," and we're going to make damn sure, to the tune of $500 million. Jesus, what's money worth these days? I guess not much. So anyway, point there is Bitcoin sort of dodged a bullet. We were kind of humming and hawing about what's really driving this market, and I thought that the talk was about this Ethereum ETF. And then, and we even had ETF date 2nd of July, and nothing's happened here. What's really interesting about this price chart, of course, it already is working a bear pattern. This now could actually turn into a very dangerous empire. So let's watch how we finish the day today. If we finish red like we are, and then we tick lower, remember I talked to you about that US dollar chart and its potential bearish empire. That's a sell signal. So, and it's interesting too. I've been talking to you lots recently about how much I love my 13 EMA. And you can see how we worked our way up. Yesterday, it looked like we were going to blast through it. Then all of a sudden, market completely puked out. We came right back to the 13 EMA. Today's supposed to be the big ETF day. We opened up, beep, tried to work our way a bit up, and then boom. So you could argue that this shooting star, gravestone doji, I don't know, I think I'll probably call it a shooting star. That's a bearish sign. That's not bullish, folks. I'm sorry. So we'll see how this develops, but it is interesting. That's a little bit surprising. And frankly speaking, like as a market participant myself, I was kind of like, what the fuck? I thought there was supposed to be some big ETF today. And Chris and I were like scouring the rags looking for news about this. We couldn't find anything. This is kind of weird. One note though, and this is kind of a funny side, and I think we'll probably leave the broadcast off with this note. I actually put out a tweet yesterday. And if you don't know who this guy is, then you really don't know crypto. And you do yourself a favor and go figure out who this guy is, because he's been in the crypto space for as long as I have. And I love this guy. In fact, actually, we used to have a guy out of Germany that I said I absolutely swore that he could be, if he wanted to be, he could be this next guy. This guy, I think he's out of Scandinavia. But anyway, do yourself a favor and watch this. It's a great song. Do you want to buy some shit coins? And I actually think that we are in an incredible buying window here with regard to altcoins. Like I said, our buddy here who's going to be talking to you in a few minutes as soon as Brian finishes his rant, he just banged out like a 600x here today. So talk about a boss. Come and join us for the after party, and you can listen to TRI's crypto expert tell you what a badass he is. And frankly speaking, I think he's absolutely 100% worth every penny of the subscription price to listen to what he has to say. But I'm just surfing through charts, and I got to tell you, as a guy who's played this game for like 30 plus years, and this is exactly what you want to see if you actually are considering investing your hard-earned money in the market. You want to see huge down moves where, sadly, the people in the public who came in here and bought these tops. And actually, it was an interesting side to this because this gentleman, man, I watched this guy. It was about a half hour, 45 minutes video. And he basically walked through step by step by step, basically from absolute scratch to listing a meme coin on Solana, where the damn meme coin went up to like a couple $1 million market cap. I mean, he just literally did it in like 2 or 3 hours, the whole damn thing from step one to step finished. I do find it interesting that he could do this and he could create this massive pool of wealth for him instantly. It's a little bit scary because this is not real economics. And if our crypto market is being driven by this kind of stuff, then the whole rally is just fluff. But do I really care whether it's fluff or not? I want to make money from trading. That's the only thing I really care about. But at the same time, too, just understand, and it makes perfect sense why the market fell apart there in sort of May, April kind of time period, because it was all this stuff. Anyway, the point of the matter here is market absolutely collapsed. Beautiful to see, because as a technician, this is exactly what you want to see. And now that the market has collapsed, look at all the little friendly little W's all coming in all over the place. So I find it hilarious that there are social media influencers and their headlines right now. And honestly, we got to reach out to this guy like that Wall Street Silver guy we did recently. And we got to teach this guy how to trade, because frankly speaking, he is doing the absolute wrong thing at exactly the wrong moment. And this is what always happens in this space, is right at the bottom of the market, Public sells the bottom. They all of a sudden instantly become Bitcoin maxis. Oh, look at that. And it disappeared. Anyway, and isn't that bizarre that it's loaded itself? Anyway, I just wanted to show you this. I don't know this gentleman from Adam, but I did see him lose a lot of money in that COVID nonsense, chasing the crypto stocks as they went zooming higher. It sounds to me like he went and chased a whole bunch of altcoins when they were up at the top of the market. And now he's basically giving up on altcoins, and now he's a Bitcoin maxi. Bitcoin's the only thing you should do. So, what do you think's going to happen in this space? I mean, it's a bit tongue in cheek. My apologies, Mr. Potney. Let's get you on TRI and teach you how to trade, sir. You could make, especially with the amount of influence that this guy has, he could make so much fucking money. Could be in the trillions. We just got to teach him to stop being the public. So I find it fascinating that this is what the price charts look like. And when you come to TRI, this is what I actually teach you to hunt for. And the public is coming out and giving up on altcoins. It's almost cliche how this game goes. Okay, I think I'm going to leave the free broadcast at that. If you do know him, if you are in his social media circle or whatever, for God's sakes, I might even just do it for free. We got to get this guy to the point where he's an OG and he's actually trading the way that he's supposed to be trading. Anyway, there's my rant. Let's all head on over and talk to Sjord. And, Sjord, of course, he gives all our site members this incredible list of fundamentally justifiable names, like actually real cryptos that you can invest in, and the real world assets, all that kind of talk. And he always talks from a position of strength and very level head, very calm. And it's always a privilege to listen to what he has to offer our audience. So if you're interested, come on over to the after party. And Stuart, you ready to rock these people's worlds?
Yes, I am.
There you go. All right, let's go kick some butt. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins a race. If you know this guy, reach out and let's get him trained so he actually is not doing the wrong thing. And then let's go and listen to actually a guy who's one of the smartest guys at crypto I've ever met. And he's going to be dropping wisdom bombs right, left, and center here shortly. All the best, and bye for now.